Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de... Oh my god, I can't believe that Omar's dead. WTF. That guy was only like not even 55, okay? Seriously, WTF. An iconic character actor just goes, poof, gone. I'm still processing it, okay? So all I'll do today is talk about what I love about this dude and his performances. Hey, XenPuck here. Now, I'm not usually one to give a crap about celebrities or actors or actresses, especially not about their actual personal lives, because I know most people are multidimensional, so I try not to impose what characters they play onto the person themselves, right? But whenever I read about someone who dies prematurely or relatively young, and I put this dude, Michael K. Williams, on the same similar scale as, say, James Gandolfini, right, in terms of age at death. I mean, they were both iconic in their influences on the actual social consciousness, right? And honestly, nobody thought they'd suddenly just not be around anymore. Both in their 50s, my god. So this isn't perpetuating the idiocy of celebrity worship, I hope, but simply a tribute to this dude, because I wish I could have seen a few more of his performances, so similar to the ones that I know that he is capable of giving, right? But before that, I want to give some context. I'm not some great cinephile either, okay? So I can only talk about the roles that I've seen him play and enjoyed, of which there were only 2, actually, but both incredibly memorable, so I'll rail against what little info that we heard as well about how he died at the end. So, I mean, what a waste. But that's later. So first, why Omar's actor is so damn good, right? Well, number 1, for Omar, obviously. Everyone knows it. We associate Michael K. Williams with Omar. This was a character who was polite, honorable, extremely competent at what he does, and even President Obama's favorite character on what I consider the greatest TV show of all time, okay? Yeah, no, it's not Breaking Bad, it's The Wire. Case closed, at least in my book. Okay. Tangent aside, I do want to mention that this is still, at its essence, this character, a flawed character. I mean, after all, well, Omar doesn't put his gun on anyone who's not in the game. He certainly injures or kills anybody who's in it, right? Yet, really think about who actually gets into the drug game, right? It's not just people who are born with a black hole in their hearts, but also plenty of others who simply saw no other choice and is being funneled into it via systemic circumstances, right? That's part of what we empathize with on the drug dealer part in the show of The Wire, right? Like people like Poot or Bodhi, what chance did they have? Right? The main difference is that, of course, Omar is keenly aware of what he is in the context of his environment, right? His honesty, I think, it's really what draws people to his character. In a world where we as adults long for the black and white definitions of good and evil that we had as kids, on The Wire, Omar represents a fantastic vision or example of a gray area that is in spite of the wanton violence, right? Because he's not indiscriminate about it, at least, right? Now, I get some people are a little uncomfortable with having a hero that's gay, especially when the show was first coming out, right? But what I find interesting is, like, in terms of, you know, his sexual orientation, compared to the majority of the other relatively fascinating characters in that show, Omar actually is one of the few people to show deep and real care for his characters, right? I mean, I find that hilarious compared to the, like, straight people, right? So, to me, it's like he could have been giving advice on relationships to McNulty and Rex, right? So, why judge what kind of person he loves? Like, just judge on how he loves. And this dude, at least, he really cares. Number 2, right? The other character that I've seen Michael K. Williams play was the dad on Lovecraft Country. I mean, from his very much anticipated introduction to his definitely not an Obi-Wan Kenobi type of mentor figure, I find this character just plain weird. I mean, in a good way, of course. So on that show, at first I thought he was going to be a straight-up MacGuffin, because our hero, the young protagonist, was looking for his kidnapped father, and he's going to places that he wasn't comfortable with, and I thought maybe we'll never find the dude. Now imagine my surprise that not only does the dad, Montrose, shows up, but he's actually played by Michael K. Williams, right? I guess maybe because my own family's history is so very basic and normal that it was fascinating for me to see a father who's so intent on his own story that he doesn't realize he's a supporting character in someone else's, right? But isn't that kind of a kick to real life though, right? Because badly written TV shows has supporting characters that act as such, but well-written shows like Lovecraft Country, with its major budget, makes it clear that a flawed character such as Montrose will not suddenly align with the goals of other people, even if that other people is his own son and the protagonist. I love the ambiguity of Michael K. Williams' character's aims, and again, the clear but consistent flaw with which he was portrayed. I mean, in a show as bizarre as Lovecraft Country, I think it's astounding that I even remember this supporting character that's carried simply by his acting, and not by any ghostly, supernatural, or otherworldly special effects. So that is a testament to Mr. Williams' skill, right? Now, point number 3. I do want to take a moment to lament how he died, right? Of course, this news of his death is very new and raw, and I have no idea whether the cause is really a drug overdose, right? So if it turns out to be someone else, hey, I stand corrected. But if it is a drug overdose, I don't know. I'm pretty basic, and that's probably why drugs aren't for me. Here's the thing, though, right? I'm all for freedom, so I've always supported legalizations of whatever substances, right? But I guess what I want to emphasize is this, right? If you want to smoke something illegal, grow it on your own, put in the work. And I'm not even saying that to be frugal or more efficient, even though I am all these things, but just to be safe. Same thing, if you want something fancier, you want to shoot up something chemicals, okay? Then get better chemistry and see if you can make it yourself. Again, not for monetary reasons, and obviously not for convenience reasons, right? But for safety. Okay, because as long as people indulge in what is not regulated, and they get it from a black market or some dude in a van, one bad hit, and poof, a life snuffed, gone just like that. And for what? A momentary reprieve from the absurdity of this world? Was it worth it? I mean, it's only a question that can be asked of the people like us, the audience, who remains, right? But to me, the people who remains, it just seems like an unnecessary risk. Anyway, I'm sure my views are limited on both what it means for Mr. Williams to live or die as he did, right? But it's a rare thing that, for me to say at least, to think I'm fascinated by this actor because he's always capable of showing vulnerability, right? Now, just as a point of comparison, I'm going to put him against another popular character or actor, right? Mr. Keanu Reeves. Yeah. I like Keanu, but honestly, I can't tell you when I think he's actually emoting at all, okay? Heck, all the roles that I've enjoyed for Mr. Keanu Reeves seems to play up his rather wooden stiffness. On the other side of the spectrum, Mr. Williams has the kind of face where he can certainly be a credible threat or a badass or whatever you want to call it, right? But the kind that looks like he could crack at any moment under the strain of the mind. And the existence of this possibility is what makes him interesting to watch, at least for me, on screen, right? Anyway, so that's my rant. What do you guys think about Mr. Michael K. Williams? Are there any other roles that he's played that I should check out? Comment, like, subscribe, share, or whatever other verbs, social media themes that all our content creators should spill out at some point. Cheers. À la prochaine.